am back. Wow, crazy. This is like 2 live streams in one day. Oh my god. Okay, let's put this away here. Wait for the people to come. I'm gonna tweet the link to the stream. I like a single. Ugh. Maybe this needs to be a little bit. I like how I'm like getting like so specific about this. Shit. Okay. I'm now gonna be tweeting the link to the stream here. Bam, 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 boom, bam, bam, bam. Okay, I see that I have some people here already. We have 2 people. This is great. Let's see. Okay, we got 3 people watching. Good, good, good. Okay. I'm gonna just tweet out the link. We're discussing the Whitney documentary live on my channel. Join us here. Okay. Then I'm going to, so if this is the first live stream you guys have ever watched from me, feel free to say anything at any point. Give a hello. You know, just start the conversation going. Okay. KD, OMG, it is time. It is time indeed. I've been like, I feel like I've been waiting 2 weeks to really like talk about it. Like, I mean, I did my review, which was like 28 minutes long, but I really want to talk about this movie with people, like in real time with other people who have seen the movie. I want to know, what are your guys's like general thoughts about the movie? Like, what did you think? Did you like it? Were there certain parts that like shook you to your core? Because there were certain parts for me that are still shaking me to my core. Let's see. For me, okay, Katie, save. Your review was on point. I agree with everything you said. I literally left the theater drained. It was so much. Okay, see, that's so interesting that you say that, because again, it's like when I first watched it by myself, because I'm a huge, like, I'm gonna call myself a Whitney stan at this point. Like, there's been, like, the month of June is truly, I mean, July, the month of July has truly been, like, a Whitney stan month moment for me. Like, living my best life throughout the month of July, honestly, because of this documentary. But going into this movie, I was like, you know, I'm fairly aware of her story, but oh my god, I like, when I watched this movie the first time, I truly felt like I had lived it with her, which is insane to me. And however, like, you know, as a Whitney fan, I was being very like nitpicky, and I was like, well, they're missing this and they're missing that and blah, 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 blah. But when I watched it with my 3 friends, like, this was like the turning point for me that really made me like appreciate the movie for what it is, oh, Genevieve is here. What up, Steffi? But when I watched it with my 3 friends on Saturday, who really truly did not know much about Whitney Houston, I like straight up asked them, I was like, so what did you think? And they were like, I'm overwhelmed. And I was truly thinking, like, I can't imagine how it must feel like to watch that movie, not really knowing much about her life, and then being bombarded with all of that. Okay, let's see. Gary, I haven't seen it yet. Did they discuss Robin, or was it like a no-go zone for her family? Oh no, they discuss it. They do discuss it. It's kind of like Robin, the Robin story like appears in and out throughout the movie, but there is like a very distinct moment like when the Robin section begin, like when the subject of Robin is first introduced in this movie. There was a very, it's like distinct. It's not subtle at all. Like at one point, God, I've seen this like 3 times, so it's been like a couple days since I've seen it, but at one point the Kevin McDonald, who's the director and he's the guy like conducting the interviews, he like straight up asks Gary about Robin Crawford. He's like, so tell me about Robin Crawford. And like Gary's response to that question is so freaking telling about how the family, it's just so telling about how the family in general feels about Robin. And I think it's very telling about their stance on like LGBTQ rights, and like it's very telling. He basically calls Robin a nobody and an opportunist, and yeah, there's that. However, you know, at some point throughout the movie though, there are different people who, and that's what's so interesting about watching anything about Whitney, is no matter what you're watching, if it's this documentary or if it's like the Can I Be Me documentary. It's been a while since I've seen that close-up documentary. I don't even know if they mention Robin, but it's like between the two documentaries, this one and Can I Be Me, like something that remains consistent is the fact that everyone can agree that Robin was someone who was truly like there for Whitney and had her genuine best interests for her, unlike a lot of the people who surrounded her in her life, like including family members, which was just really heartbreaking to like hear like unanimously across the board. Skastaganali 1. Sorry, I hope I didn't butcher your name too badly. After multiple watches, this film is the kind that sets off emotional flashes following different viewings. There's too much going on to process everything, especially in the montage section. Interesting. See, I personally I enjoyed the montage sections because as like chaotic as they could be, especially, well, here I feel like the montage section, specifically like the one in the 80s that's like Whitney's career's taken off, and then the one in the 90s that's like, oh my god, my life is falling apart. I feel like those montages serve two different purposes. It's like the first purpose is to set context in terms of like where Whitney is in her life in the context of like what is happening around the world, around in like America. The second reason why I feel like the montage is like really like quickly edited and it's dizzying to a certain degree is because that kind of like reflects what it felt like to be like maybe Whitney, or to just be in her bubble in that moment, you know. Like I would imagine in the 80s for her career to take off like that is it's dizzying, like to the best degree. It's dizzying because you're like, wow, everything is happening all at once so fast for me. And then like the second montage of the 90s, how it feels very chaotic and turbulent, it's like a little like scary. I would imagine that's kind of what it felt like for her and the people around her in that moment. It felt like the second montage was, you know, they showed different moments of her on stage, but you could really tell she's very like tired, you know, not to shade her, but it's true. It kind of felt like she was just pushing and like really giving everything that she had in that moment, even though it was like she was literally being drained of everything she had. And it felt very like things were just getting out of her control. So for me, I personally really enjoyed the montages, but I would understand like why people would feel like it's a lot to take. Genevieve Brown, SMH Gary, it was so unkind. Yeah, it was unkind. Actually, I heard, I was watching an interview with Pat, and she, you know, I don't know how y'all feel about Pat, but Pat was like, yeah, I agreed, it was a bit, tough. And I think, I don't know, Pat said she talked to Gary about it, but I don't really know. I don't know. Katie, I think the use of clips of current news stories at the time throughout her life is what contributed to it feeling heavy beyond the drama of Whitney's life, of course. Oh yeah, like yeah, I agree. I agree. I totally agree. Like I mean like even the pictures of the headlines, like for better or worse, like you know, the hearing the news in the beginning of the movie of like new star Whitney coming up, she's the prom queen of soul, being like that excited me. Like that made me feel like I was in the 80s. And then, you know, in the 90s, seeing all those like headlines starting to evolve into her being talked about more as like a character, like a public character. And then I think the hardest headlines to see were in the 2000s when they were talking about like Whitney's comeback during her like I Look to You era, and seeing like the fans during like, because I've seen that video actually that they took of the fans being like, she couldn't even entertain a dead rat, I wouldn't pay $165. And then like watching Whitney not being able to hit those notes, like that was devastating. But yeah, I totally agree. It's like watching the news kind of reflect where she was in her life made me like again feel like I was like part of this journey with her. um let's see. Katie, I want to see the footage Robin was filming. Okay, so me and Genevieve were like talking earlier this week about it, and we were like we were saying that like first of all, let it like I swear Robin probably has so much freaking footage of Whitney Houston that I don't know we'll ever see the light of day. But we were saying that like Robin, well, this was what Genevieve was saying. She was saying like Robin should just like bury all of that footage, like burn it when she like before she dies, like when she knows she's about to like kick it for the last time, like just burn it all. Because the reason why that is, and I kind of agree too, is if left to the wrong hands, that first of all we don't know what's on that in that footage, but if left to the wrong hands, like it could be bad. But yeah, I'm very intrigued to see what like the footage that Robin has filmed. And word on the street is that Robin is supposedly writing a book. I don't know if that's true, and I have some mixed feelings about it, honestly. Like, if Robin were to write a book, would I be a little disappointed? Yeah, because like the thing that's kind of made like Robin this like pillar of good in the Whitney community is the fact that she, out of every single person in her circle, is someone who hasn't really like monetized off of Whitney in any way. Like she hasn't written a book, she hasn't appeared in a documentary, she hasn't like really done anything to like speak of Whitney, period. Like she did release a couple statements after Whitney died, but that was pretty much it. However, if she were to if she were to release that book, would I buy it? Oh, hell yeah. Like, I would literally treat that book as if it were the last book in the Harry Potter series. Like, I would be up in that book. But, yeah, I agree. Long story short, I have just so many questions about, like, Robin and, like, like I want to know from her, because we've heard so many people talk about Robin. I want to know from Robin about Robin. Genevieve Brown. Robin was a constant in providing unwavering love / support. You know she was the real deal because so many different people in Whitney's camp share the same sentiments, except for Gary. LOL. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's like the fact that different people across the board from two different documentaries have like legit said have legit had nothing but positive things to say about Robin is telling. Derry, I guess the montages would have been crucial in a film format to get the info across in a short space of time. If they had picked apart every era of her career, we would have been there for hours. Exactly. Which is why, and I don't know if you've seen my review, but why I personally, for me, because like, you know, as Whitney fans, like I'm sure like I mean, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, like, I would have not minded being there, like, all freaking day, like, let's marathon the life and times of Whitney Houston. However, I do feel like because there was just so much, like, there's so much that happened in her life, like, you didn't even get to really talk about everything that happened in her life, like, the bad, and, like, more importantly, the good. I feel like with the documentary already being 2 hours, I think her story specifically, Whitney Houston's story, would have benefited being told in a docu-series format, just because there's just so much to get through. Derry, just saying, I would have happily been there for hours as a stan. Yeah, exactly what I was saying, but it wouldn't appeal to a mass audience. Exactly, yeah. Exactly. Genevieve Brown, I like the montage too, provided a great context at the times. Agreed. Royal Clark, how much of her childhood did they show slash discuss? I got to the movies late. Oh, Royal Clark, oh no, how much of the movie did you miss? I feel like they talked a good amount about her childhood. Like, that's one thing I could say, like, especially in comparison to Can I Be Me? Like, you really get a better sense of where Whitney came from and, like, her family. Like, I've never seen the footage of like Gary playing basketball, and I did not know that the reason why he like left the NBA is because he failed the drug test. Like, that was a revelation. I didn't know like I didn't know like Michael's personality in terms of him being like the class clown and just like, you know, being this happy-go-lucky like wild child person. Like, I just didn't know and really much about like her upbringing and her life in like Newark, and how like that change, like that move from when she lived in Newark to like East Orange. Like, I didn't really, I think, understand the extent of how much that must have impacted her. So I'd say they did discuss a good amount of her childhood. Katie agreed at Derry. Yeah, I agreed with that as well. Scastagnoli 1 agreed. My point was different images and scenes sort of popped only after several viewings. I see. Yeah, one thing I will say is for me, like, I've seen this 3 times, and I'm already planning on seeing this, I believe, like, 2 times this week. 'Cause I'm the type of person where, like, if I love something, like, I will, like, find the people who I know in my head I can, like, persuade to watch the movie with me, and I will sit there with you, so, like, we can experience this together. Like, that's just me. But oh wait, actually I've seen this 4 times. I forgot. I've seen this 4 times already, but I feel like genuinely with every single viewing of this movie, I've genuinely grown to like it more and more. Like, I have tremendous respect for the fact that they were able to tell her story in such a way and fit all of that within 2 hours. Like, I think this movie is so well made, and I'm not even just saying that because, like, you know, they sent me stuff. Like, genuinely, I truly believe that this movie is well made, and I think, you know, for people, especially, like, the casual fans or people who don't know anything about Whitney, like, this story is very informative. Like, this documentary is very informative. But yeah, different images and scenes definitely are popping to me more than they did in my first viewing. Genevieve Brown, dude, for real, yes, it's only should be in Robin's hands only. Who knows what the hell would happen if that came out to the public and in the wrong hands. Agreed. Katie, I just enjoyed the intimate moments between Robin and Whitney. Whitney just looked so at peace with her. Yes, exactly. I wholeheartedly agree with you, Katie. There's a sense, like, I feel like whenever Whitney, like, whenever they showed the scenes of Whitney with Robin, like, even, like, you couldn't even, in some points, like, hear audio in the clips. Like, they would just show like B-roll footage of Whitney and Robin just like walking together. Like, there was one of my it's very like, it's not a throwaway, it's minor, but it's something that like kind of caught my eye. Was it's like Whitney and Robin, and they're like backstage, and like Robin's like wearing this like brown leather jacket, and like Whitney is like in her costume, like I'm assuming she's just like warming up to get ready, and like Whitney's doing this thing with the paper where she like brings it up to her face, and then she goes like this, and then she brings it up to her face, and she goes like this, and like she's kind of like teasing Robin in that moment. And then like right immediately they show like Robin and Whitney kind of going over the, I'm assuming it's her set list. Like, it's just those little moments like that where it's like, I feel like Whitney, like, there's not much chaos surrounding Whitney, you know, like, whereas in the scenes with her and Bobbi, like in the clips with her and Bobbi, it's like I'm overwhelmed. So yeah, I agree. Like, I enjoyed those moments as well. Like, honestly, Robin, if you were to release a book, or even like, I don't freaking know, like, Robin should have like a sit down interview with Oprah. That'd be amazing. Sriracha down. Is Robin the only person that didn't monetize on Whitney? I mean, I don't know, like, if she's technically the only person, but I mean, like, if we're considering, like, in her circle, like, her mom made a book. Bobbi made a book. Bobbi has a movie coming out that's gonna have, like, you know, Whitney, obviously, the character of Whitney in it. Gary and Pat, like, they've done interviews. Michael's done interviews. they were also, like, I believe it was more Pat, but responsible for coming out with the Houston's on Her Own reality show. Like, they've all kind of, like, capitalized to a certain extent off of Whitney. So that's what I mean. I don't know if, like, every single person, like, if we're literally to get a list of all the people in Whitney's life, like, I don't know if every single person has done that, but, like, when it comes to those people, like, yeah, I would say Robin's pretty much the only one that hasn't done that. Skastagnoli 1. The wedding scene was powerful. When the camera gets close to Robin when she was looking so intently at Whitney, oh my god. Like, they actually, I think they included that clip in the MTV World exclusive, like, trailer for the movie, but, my heart, like, broke. Because it's like, you see Bobby Brown in the distance, and he's, like, in focus, and he's, like, crying, but then they, like, focus more on Robin, and I wish we would have seen, like, Whitney's face. Like, honestly, I wish we would have seen Whitney's face. Because you don't see her face, you just see Bobby, you just see Robin's face, and Robin is just, like, she looks so sad. Like, I swear she looked like she was, like, tearing up, but, like, not because she was happy for her, like, not because she was happy for Whitney, like, more because she was, like, worried for her. Like, my heart truly broke in that moment. It's just so, it's so sad. Like, I can't imagine how difficult that must be for Robin to have, like, watched Whitney through all of that. You know what I mean? Oh, God, it's too much. Christina Romanos, Q&A, I haven't seen the Showtime Whitney documentary from last year yet, but I will see it tomorrow night. In your humble opinion, is this recent one better than last year's? Yes. I would say this one is better than last year's. However, it's like, you can make the argument that, I don't know, it's just, for me, they were able, Whitney Can I Be Me, I really feel like was more about, like, the dynamic and relationship between, like, Robin, Bobby, and Whitney. Like, that was a huge focus of that movie, and because it wasn't authorized by the family, like, the footage that they used was notably, like, predominantly from when she did her My Love Is Your Love tour in '99. It was the footage from Rudy Dolezaj, who co-directed the documentary with Nick Broomfield. So, I don't know, like, it's, for me, and I'm not just saying this because, like, I've seen both of them, like, a good number of times. I personally feel like this one was a more comprehensive look at Whitney's life. Whereas that one specifically more so focused on, like, one specific issue. Like, yeah, they talk about different things, like Whitney being good at the Soul Train Awards and, like, the drug use and all of that stuff. But this one is more comprehensive, and, like, I could genuinely say, like, for me personally, I just feel like this is more well-made. They used more of a variety of clips, more of a variety of, like, pictures and headlines. They, like, having access to the family, for me, it does add some meat to it that Can I Be Me didn't. So, like, you know, if someone were to ask me, like, let's watch only one Whitney documentary, which one do you want to show me, Can I Be Me or this? Like, I would say this one. Let's see. But I mean, like, still watch the other one. I think it, like, add really nice insight. Katie, yes, at Skatstagnoli 1. Royal Clark, I think in the future her life should be portrayed in a docuseries on TV like The Jacksons and American Dream. Yeah, I don't know if, like, they should do it now, but I would imagine, like, down the line, they should definitely, like, I think it'd be really interesting to explore Whitney's life in the narrative format, but it needs to be done, like, in, like, several parts. It can't be done, like, within 2 hours. Like, if anyone says, I'm gonna come out with a Whitney Houston movie from, like, birth to life, and it's only gonna be, like, an hour and a half, like, you know, the typical movie format, like, I just know it's not gonna be good enough, because you can't tell her life within the parameters of a movie. Like, not to say that this documentary, again, didn't do good, like, they did good, but I think if we want to go the narrative route, it has to be done, like, on TV. And it's, like, TV is, like, hot right now, so it's not a bad place to be. Genevieve Brown, yes, that wedding scene with Robin looking at Whitney, such a great scene. Yeah, that was intense. Christina Romano. Even before The Bodyguard came out when I was in high school, rumors swirled that Whitney might be a lesbian, but also, too, people thought she was crazy for getting engaged to Bobby Brown. Yeah. I mean, one thing I will say, too, about this documentary is, like, the way they set it up, like, especially, again, that's why it kind of, like, I feel bad. I forget who said it, but I think it's Royal Clark who said that they missed, it sounds like you missed a little bit of the beginning, when they're talking about, like, Whitney's childhood and whatnot. I don't know if you missed this part, but when they were talking about the brothers, and they specifically showed the footage of her brothers, like, backstage, like, acting crazy, like, for me in that moment, it clicked in my head, like, wow, those brothers are low-key very similar to Bobbi. And then in the documentary, they literally say, yeah, her brothers were a combination, Bobbi was a combination of her brothers. So, like, even though to this, like, even right now, I'm still like, God, Whitney, why? Like, I understand why she did it. Like, if you have the fact that that's familiar to you, and then you also add the fact, too, that you have some pressure from, be it your family, from the media, from yourself, from maybe your own religion, that, like, you being queer isn't good, so I need to find a husband, and I need to, like, settle down right now so I can alleviate the rumors. Like, I would imagine, I understand why she did what she did, you know? Dairy. The Can I Be Me documentary really frustrated me. Don't get me wrong, I love the My Love Is Your Love era, but for the first time watchers, that's their first impression. The non-fans didn't see her in her prime. Yeah, so for me, and, like, Genevieve too, I say that, like, for me, Can I Be Me was truly, like, my first exposure to, like, Whitney's life story. And I genuinely did not even know about the rumors of, like, Whitney saying, like, you know, about the rumors of Whitney being, like, potentially, like, gay, or like, I had no idea. Like, I'd never heard about Robin Crawford. I didn't know that Whitney was booed at the Soul Train Awards. I didn't, like, realize her internal struggle of her, like, not being black enough, and then, like, being told that she was too white by the black community. Like, I didn't know any of that. So yeah, I mean, like, if anything, like, I will always credit to Can I Be Me being the documentary that sparked my interest in Whitney, but I did a lot of my own, like, personal research after Can I Be Me. Like, the spark was lit from that documentary, but a lot of what I've come to learn about Whitney's life has come from, like, you know, watching interviews and watching other, like, specials. And, like, another thing too that it kind of sucks that they didn't really get a chance to do in this documentary is, like, I've grown to really love and appreciate Whitney's music, and not, aside from, like, you know, the hits, like, I've genuinely, like, after Can I Be Me, like, I remember the day after, and, you know, thank God for, you know, for better or worse, living in the streaming era, like, I can literally right now go through Whitney Houston's entire discography and, like, give it a listen. And that's what I was able to do. And I did that literally right after doing Can I Be Me. So I just have, like, a whole newfound appreciation for, like, her life and who she was as a person, and, like, also her music. But yeah, I totally understand. Like, and that's why I say too, like, if I was introducing someone to Whitney, like, I don't know if I would necessarily, like, use Can I Be Me as the documentary to do it, because I don't think it really, like, represents the totality of, like, Whitney's life and her career. And yeah, like you said, they don't even really show that much footage of her in her prime. Sriracha Down. With Robin withholding footage of Whitney, is there a point where we keep something secret after someone dies, or do we have to say it despite the person's wishes? Ooh. I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't know if I can even answer that. I mean, that's, like, a question that doesn't even just pertain to the story of, like, Whitney Houston and, like, Robin. Like, that could pertain to any, like, notable person who has died. I really don't know. I mean, to me, like, your question kind of immediately makes me think of, like, the bombshell that they dropped in this documentary of Whitney being sexually molested by Dee Warwick. You know, like, was it fair for them to say that, given that Whitney can't speak for herself, and given that Dee can't speak for herself? I don't really know. But then, you know, Gary's alive and he said it, so, like, I think that's fair for him. but there's a part of me that kind of is like, I'm like happy that they said it, and not because it's like, ooh, like tea, like gossipy. It's like, it's weird, like, even though she wasn't able to save for herself, like, in a way, like, I feel like this was a great release for her. Like, I know that's, like, really weird to say, but I feel like that was, like, the fact that that's now been spoken, it's, like, cathartic in a way. In a way that, like, Whitney wasn't able to have that moment for herself. Like, I feel like after, you know, even though she's no longer here with us, like, in death, she's still, like, just knowing that truth, she was able to have some sort of, like, release of that. But I really don't know in regards to your question. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. Anyone else, you can chime in on that question. Royal Clark, I loved how they let it be known that it was Cissy who created Whitney and Clive just presented it. Yes, I loved that part. Like, that was that was like one of my favorite parts of the documentary. You know, and especially how they edit that too. They like show that iconic picture of Whitney and Clive in the couch, and then you pan out and you see Cissy and Clive and Whitney. Like, that's great. It's like, let's get a full picture here of what was really going on. But yeah, and you know, something that I cut out from my review of the movie, because like I said this when I was filming it, is I always feel like when it comes to anyone who is like really, really gifted, whatever like industry that is, there's always that one parent who has to kind of like play hardball and be like really hard on their kid in order for their kid to really like blossom, in order for that gift to be cultivated, you know. And for Whitney, it was Cissy. For Michael, it was Joseph. For the Williams sisters, it was their dad. For like lots of other people, there's always that one person. So like, even though, do I agree with everything Cissy has done in Whitney's life? Surely not. However, if there's one thing Cissy did do right in Whitney's life, it was that. And you can't take that away from her. And I think that's one of like the best gifts that, you know, Cissy gave to Whitney, was that time and attention and nurturing her daughter's gift. Let's see here. Royal Clark, yeah, I saw that, and they are eerily similar to Bobbi, yeah, the brothers. Genevieve Brown, this doc is more comprehensive and great for a first-time Whitney fan, but Can I Be Me would be a great second exposure or a first exposure because it was for me. Yeah, same. Yeah, that's why I say, like, I think it'd be, like, a nice twofer. I feel like, watch this documentary first, and then, like, if you feel so inclined, Can I Be Me is, like, a nice, like, complimentary piece to it, but I think, like, this is a really, really, like, good starting base. Skastag Nolly 1. Given what we learned in this film, her accomplishments are even more remarkable. I 1000% agree with you. Like, the fact that all of that was occurring in her life, yet she was still able to, like, make the music she made, and, like, even though, like, her voice did give out towards the end of her career, the fact that her voice was still able to, like, maintain at the level it was for so long is, like, insane. And that's why I was like, you know, I was, like, kind of jokingly saying this with my friends, but, like, seriously, we never heard Whitney's voice without the drugs. Like, think about that. You never heard the sound of her voice without the drugs. So imagine, first of all, what that voice would have sounded like without the drugs. And then additionally, like, you know, imagine what Whitney's voice, like, how much longer her voice would have lasted and the quality her voice could have sustained had she not, like, excessively started hitting, like, the drugs. Like, she was always a drug user. Let's just get out of the way. But she excessively started using it, like, later in her life, like, especially, like, you know, around the time her and Bobbi met, because they both enabled each other in that way. But imagine what that voice would have sounded like had, you know, that not happened. And I feel like, you know, like, or her voice would have sustained longer, too. Like, it's just a shame. It really is. But Skastagnoli 1 also says, we need a true music doc because I don't believe some people truly understand how brilliant she was musically. Yeah, I 1000% agree. We need, like, a documentary. Kind of like, you know how, like, and here's the thing, too. It's like with Whitney in comparison to, like, her musical peers, like, Michael and Prince, like, those are, like, you know, they're male artists. Those are people who, like, their genius, despite all the stuff that has happened in their personal life, like, people will always take the time to talk about their genius, and rightfully so. However, like, when it comes to Whitney, for some reason, maybe because it just got so bad towards the end with her personal life, it's like her musical genius, and also partly too because, you know, she didn't write her own songs, her musical genius gets overlooked far too often, and I just feel like people don't, like, still to this day don't really understand, like, how musically gifted she was. So I would love, like, a documentary that more so focuses on her music. I 1000% agree. Scaz Tagnoli went, please read C. Henderson's piece in The New Yorker. You'll be amazed at her musical genius. Okay, I'm wondering if I have read that, because, you know, I've read some articles about Whitney. Oh, yes. Actually, I believe the person who wrote this article, was in the Whitney documentary. And I think you're talking about this article called Anthem of Freedom, How Whitney Houston Remade the Star-Spangled Banner. I was listening to an interview with Kevin McDonald, and he was saying that he read this interview, and it's what really, like, inspired him to, like, say yes to making this movie. So yeah, I will definitely give that a read. Let's see here. Okay. Deary, at Scott Stagnoli 1, I totally agree. Her personal life still overshadows her legacy. The new generation needs to see what a phenomenal talent she was. 1000% agree. Royal Clark, I'm a film student, and the first thing I want to do when I graduate is do a series of her musical artistry and accomplishments, go behind the process and analyze her albums, videos, etc. Yes, you should totally do that for sure. Oops, sorry. If you ever need help, Royal Clark, and if you want to do it, like, I'd be happy to help in any way. I've been, like, toying with the idea of potentially doing, like, because I want to do video essays on my channel, and I've been wanting to do video essays kind of about Whitney's musical, like, talent. I'd need to do some research, but I'd love, that was something I was wanting to, you know, do on my channel, was look at the, like, more so, instead of looking at the personal life, look at the music. Because again, like, I've, like, said this in so many videos now, I just feel like she's so underrated when it comes to her musical gifts and contributions. And it's like, it's funny because it's like, you know, you watch good singers of today, you know, like, no shade to the girls of today who can sing, like, you know, like the Adeles and, like, you know, Beyonce, and, you know, like, people, like, the younger generation now really, like, puts Ariana on this pedestal, and, you know, she's pretty good, she's a good singer, but it's like, they don't have, like, the same, like, emotional, like, guts that Whitney did. And, like, just the natural ability and gift of Whitney Houston's voice alone is just, like, truly, like, awe-inspiring. It's insane. And it's something that gets overlooked. Genevieve Brown, I really think that Gary should have privately spoken to Cissy, then the rest of the family, enter Kevin McDonald. I don't get that part. Yeah, I mean, like, but here's the thing, too, though. It's like, when you, like, I've seen clips of that interview Cissy did with Oprah, when, like, Oprah was like, well, if your daughter was gay, how would you feel? And Cissy was like, I would not be okay with that. Like, I don't know. Like, we personally don't know. Maybe Gary did try and say something, and maybe Cissy just didn't want to hear it. Or, you know, maybe Gary, like, you know, this is not even a maybe, like, Gary probably knows his mom more than, like, the general public knows his mom, and he knew that just, like, telling her wouldn't really be effective, and maybe he would have tried talking him out of saying that in the documentary. I really don't know. But yeah, like, out of courtesy, I definitely think that Gary should have said something, but I don't know, like, I empathize on both parts. I empathize for both of them, Gary and his mom. However, I will say it is rather interesting that, you know, Cissy is kind of siding with the Warwick side of the family on that whole issue. I don't know if you guys read her. Cissy Houston just released a statement recently basically saying how, you know, her and Dion are releasing this joint statement of, I choose, what did she say exactly? She just basically said, like, I don't believe Dee would do that to my 2 children, and, you know, she doesn't really think that the claims made in the movie are true. And granted, like, maybe, you know, she can say that about Whitney and Dee, because Cissy also says, like, she doesn't think it's fair because Whitney can't speak for herself and Dee can't defend herself. However, your son Gary, who was in the documentary and who is still alive, has, like, said that this happened to him. And I feel like to just simply say, no, it didn't happen to you, like, that's not fair. And I understand, like, you know, that's hard. Like, Cissy's lived a hard life. She lost a daughter. She lost a granddaughter. I would imagine now at this stage in your life, hearing that 2 of your children were sexually molested by a family member, like, I can't even fathom what that must feel like. So I just feel like maybe that's kind of her way of coping with it. But yeah. Katie, let's see. And to that end, we definitely need more performance footage / BTS of her in the studio. I agree. I think we could all collectively agree right now that we were wanting more of that behind the scenes footage that they were teasing us in the trailer. Because like no shade, but a lot of the footage that the behind the scenes footage in this documentary was shown in the trailer. So I like wish we would have seen more of that. And like it sucks that the footage that they did show of Whitney in the recording studio came from her Just Whitney era, and one of those scenes is when she's with Bobby Brown and he can't do his job. Like it honestly kind of scares me thinking of the possibility that no one has any recorded footage of Whitney in the studio making her first album or even making her second album. Like someone, or even making I'm Your Baby Tonight, like someone surely at this point in her career especially must have hit the record button when she was recording the songs for the Bodyguard. Like, please God, let that footage exist somewhere. Like, that truly scares me. I hope one day, if that footage exists, it sees the light of day. Christina Romano, do you personally believe in all the bizarre conspiracy theories surrounding Whitney's death by Clive, etc.? Personally, I don't believe that. I think, like, I know people have said Whitney dead was worth more to Clive. Whitney was worth more dead than alive to Clive Davis. Like, I've heard that. But for me, I just feel like, I don't know. I just don't think, I don't believe that. Like, I think kind of like the crazy people are the ones who are saying that. Now, do I think that it was a bit sketched that Clive Davis's party continued despite the fact that like Whitney Houston's dead body was like several floors above? Yeah. But then also on the other hand, people were saying like, well, how could he cancel the party and blah blah blah. Like, yeah, I get that too, but like still, it's really really bizarre. I personally, so like to answer your question now, I personally don't believe that conspiracy. Genevieve Brown, ooh, good point on the voice / drugs. Never heard her voice without the drugs. Good point. Yeah. So think about what that voice must have sounded like without the drugs. Beloved one, hey Steffi, hey Genevieve Brown. Steffi, gotta hop off to check out at my hotel, but I'll check out recording. Thanks for putting this on for all of us Whitney stans. You rock, girl. Thanks, Genevieve, for you're probably gone, but thank you for joining when you were here. Royal Clark, OMG, yes, totally agree. I feel like was so much to her gift that wasn't tapped into, so we never got the fullness of it, and that's scary. She was already amazing, can't even fathom. Yeah, and like, I was listening to a podcast, and like, you know, not to compare like artist to artist, but I do feel like, I wish Whitney, you know, because again, she didn't write her own songs, I wish Whitney had a mentor in her life that encouraged her to write her own songs and encouraged her to produce her own songs more. Like, I wish there was someone guiding her career more in that way, because I really do feel like even though like Whitney, as far as we know, like, well, like even though Whitney didn't write her own songs, as far as we know, like, we don't know if she had that songwriting gift and ability, but maybe if it was nurtured, it could have developed into something. And it's like, what you have to consider too, like Whitney, like, she likes stories. Like, she has said it countless times. Like, when she sings songs, she feels like she's telling a story. That comes across very clearly just based on, like, the emotional journey she takes you on, especially when you listen to those songs live. She has an understanding for storytelling, not even just through songs, but you have to also consider, too, like, this woman has, like, starred in movies, you know. She has an appreciation for storytelling, like, in the narrative sense as well, like, when it comes to films. She's produced several movies as well. Like, she has an understanding for, like, storytelling. So I do feel, I do wish that she, her gift of, you know, we don't know if this is, like, she had it, but, like, I wish the skill of writing her own songs would have been more developed and cultivated, and I wish her, like, being able to produce her own songs would have been more, like, developed, because I think she could have really, really done it. And it sucks that, like, you know, the personal life just became storm, that she didn't really have time to explore that. Hazim, okay, I'm going to report you. You are leaving this now. Okay. Yes, let me just remove that. Okay. Katie, we have to remember too, Cissy always wanted to present the perfect family. I believe that was both publicly and privately. Yeah, I agree. And, like, even, like, Gary says it in the movie, and, like, I think Michael alludes to this too, like, their family had a lot of secrets, and because their family chose to not address a lot of those, like, you know, issues and secrets, kind of what led them to where they are today. And I think, like, I didn't mention this in my review, and I kind of wish I did. Something, like, a strong theme in this documentary is the idea that, like, your secrets, like, they just keep building, and your secrets and your problems just keep, like, building and building and building on top of one another. So if you harbor one thing, it's just gonna feed into another problem, and that's just gonna feed into another problem. So I agree, Katie. Like, I think that was just the nature of their family to not talk about things, and, you know, especially for the parents who want to portray this, like, squeaky clean image of a perfect family, that kind of led them to where they are today. Scats Tagnolly 1, Whitney, I Will Always Love You, pop masterpiece, A Quiet Place, gospel masterpiece, The Star Spangled Banner, anthemic masterpiece, then chooses any number of great R&B live performance. Who else has done that? Yeah. I don't know. She has such great vocal versatility. It's, like, insane. Sheer fangirl, say no to conspiracy theories, stick to the science. That's what I'm trying to do here. She also says she did write Queen of the Night and one other. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Let me see. Queen of the Night. I did not know she wrote that song. I'm trying to... I'm trying to, like, look that up. Who wrote Queen of the Night? Whitney Houston. Nice! Whitney Houston, and then credited is Babyface and L.A. Reid and Daryl Simmons. Yeah, I definitely get, like, a Babyface L.A. Reid vibe from that song, for sure. Derry. I think Clive has so much live/studio footage at his disposal, but he's not going to release it in one go so he can make maximum profit. Wish I could raid Arista and see what footage they have, lol. Yeah, okay, so I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Clive Davis documentary called The Soundtrack of My Life. Like, as Whitney fans, like, I feel like that's definitely, like, it's a good complementary piece to this documentary, because there's, like, a good amount of Whitney in the Clive Davis documentary. But at one point in the documentary, he plays the demo for I Will Always Love You. He plays the demo for I Want to Dance with Somebody. Like, the original demo. And then he says, you know, giving this song, like, I guess that song was supposed to go to Olivia Newton-John, and he says, like, you know, with Olivia Newton-John, it's, you know, it's a good pop song, it's okay. And he said, but give it to Whitney, and that song becomes something more. So, like, you know, like, he has so much. Like, I'm gonna need them, like, especially after this documentary, like, I need them to, like, come out with some new music or, like, concert DVD footage of Whitney. Because, like, you know, I think the documentary, in terms of box office, is doing, like, pretty well. So, you know, and it's getting, like, a lot of good reviews. So I think it would kind of be a missed opportunity for them to not release something, like, musically of Whitney. I hope we get that, but, you know, so Clive, if you want to profit, now's the time. Royal Clark, Whitney was definitely an enchantress when it came to singing and her persona. She never fully wrote a song, but awarded Songwriters Hall of Fame. Co-wrote Queen of the Night and Count on Me. Oh, okay, Count on Me was the other one. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Sheer fangirl, shared credit. YB the kid underscore, I'm really surprised there's never been footage of her in the studio during the Bodyguard. Me too. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you can't tell me that there is no recorded footage of her in the studio during the Bodyguard. Like, you can't tell me that footage doesn't exist. It has to exist. Like, that's why I'm saying it's like, we need, okay, I like, oh wait, shoot, I'm sorry. We need, what's it called? We need footage of Whitney in the recording studio, more specifically, Whitney, like, in the recording studio during the beginnings of her career. Like, I would love to see Whitney in the recording studio when she was making that first album. Like, come on, like, that has to exist somewhere. Sheer fangirl, that was with bro Michael, wait for Robin. Sheer fangirl, one take that happened fast, good reason for no footage. Are you talking about, well, I heard, like, supposedly, How Will I Know was essentially done in one take. Also, like, speaking of How Will I Know, I'm really surprised that they didn't have Narada Michael Walden in this documentary. He is someone, again, who could have contributed greatly to talking about, like, the musical genius of Whitney Houston. I'm sure you guys who are in this chat, like, live stream, have seen the video of Narada. If you haven't watched, like, literally YouTube Narada Michael Walden, Whitney Houston, he like, filmed himself, like, talking about Whitney and, like, the musical genius. So I highly recommend checking it out. But, like, I wish they would have included more of that. But more specifically, I'm surprised that they didn't have him in this documentary to talk about that. But yeah, that kind of footage has to be there. Rose Kid, I wonder why Whitney didn't take a longer break after The Bodyguard, even though that era was very iconic. Getting married, having the baby, and touring The Bodyguard was very taxing. Yeah, I mean, like, I would imagine that was probably, like, you know, again, after watching the documentary, we know that there were a lot of people that were, like, essentially using Whitney as a cash cow, that were just encouraging Whitney, like, go Whitney, go, keep going, Whitney, because they, like, they depended on her financially, and, I would imagine that's why she didn't really stop when she needed to. And, like, you know, I mean, to cite the Angela Bassett Whitney Houston movie, like, in that movie, they depict that Whitney wanted to stop, but, you know, it was Clive and the label that were like, no, she needs to go on tour, like, right now. So, yeah. Derry, I know there must be footage of Studio Bodyguard, one of the biggest albums of all time, and no one picked up a video recorder. I very much doubt it. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like, there has to be recorded footage of that, of her in the recording studio during that, you know, recording session. Like, there has to. Like, this is, like, Whitney Houston already, like, is a star at this point. Like, granted, like, Bodyguard, like, launched her even higher. Like, in my head, I always think of Bodyguard as, like, Whitney Houston's Thriller. You know what I mean? Like, that was the project that really, like, launched her into the stratosphere. But at that point, regardless, someone has to have recorded her in the studio during that time. Like, it scares me if no one thought to do that. Someone must have done that. Sheer fangirl, she might have videos. I think you're talking about Robin. I hope so. I hope Robin has some footage. YB Daykid underscore, I wonder if the family has footage of her performances and in the studio. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I was listening to an interview again with the director of this documentary, Kevin McDonald, and he was saying that the Houston family archives right now are a bit, he said it, like, very politely, but he said they're a bit, like, disorganized. So they need to hire someone to frickin' organize that, because you're missing out, like, you know, from like for the fans, we're missing out on a lot. And like, you know, if you want to think about monetary value as well, like you're missing so many ways to, like, you know, I know it's kind of bad to say, but like many ways to still make money for Whitney even though she's not here. And you're still also you're just like missing out on like potential projects that at the end of the day, and this is like most important, help keep her legacy like alive and relevant. Not that Whitney will ever not be relevant, but like still like introducing her to like a newer generation. I just, I don't know, they need to like do something about that. Royal Clark, yes, yeah, she did a lot of one takes, but there was a rare video of recording Lover for Life. Narada definitely should have been in it, but he only likes talking about her music, that's why. Wait, okay, wait. Royal Clark, I need you to send me the link then to that, her recording Lover for Life or something, because Lover for Life is one of my favorite songs. Especially, like, I remember the first time I was listening to I'm Your Baby Tonight, because that's like, what, like track 3 or 4, that song immediately caught my attention. Sheer fangirl. She had to take advantage of the way of Hollywood. Sad. Yeah. Mikey Jay Maher. There must be tons of recording in the studios and live concerts with this bloody estate. Wish this bloody estate would release this footage. Me too. Same. Like, honestly, I credit the Whitney is Back YouTube channel to so much of my, like, education when it comes to Whitney. Like, I learned, like, the fact that whoever runs that YouTube channel has all of that footage of her in concerts and specials and interviews, like, I will forever be in debt to the Whitney's Back YouTube channel. And also the Love Whitney Houston YouTube channel. YB Dakid _ I think the Bobbi Kris doc is coming next. Pat alluded to it in a recent interview. I don't know if I want a Bobbi Kristina documentary. Like, I know that child went through a lot, but I don't know. Do we need that? Royal Clark. David Foster definitely has footage from the sessions. I hope so. Sheer fangirl. Could be legal proprietary. No filming in New York City, Right Track Studios, or West Coast. Same. Honestly, Seems family has not had time to do this. Very, very busy. That's true. But still, like, that footage has to exist somewhere. Skastagnolly1, you're correct, but who's KM? Oh, Kevin McDonald was really after who she was and what went so wrong. He wasn't terribly interested in exploring her gift. That's true. Yeah, that's true. But I also feel like, you know, here's my thing. It's like, you're doing a documentary about Whitney Houston. As interesting as the life was, because the life was interesting, you can't not talk about Whitney and not talk about the music. And he did talk about the music, like, especially in the, like, the very beginnings, like, setting the stage for her becoming the star and all of that. Like, he did do, I felt like he did a good job with doing that. But I feel like there could have been more explored when it came to, like, the musical side of Whitney. Mikey Jay Maher. The Whitney Houston estate needs professionals to run the estate. Pat ain't a clue. Yeah, I don't know about that. I know a lot of people, especially within the fandom, have their sketch feelings about Pat, but I just wish they would put more stuff of her out, you know, like more specifically focusing on the music. Dairy, IDK, but I feel like Waiting to Exhale and The Preacher's Wife were more about making money. She seemed passionate about the Bodyguard in interviews, but I feel like she just felt the need to do them. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I feel like she cared a lot about Preacher's Wife, especially considering, like, it was set in the church, and she, you know, we know Whitney loves gospel. But I feel like Whitney genuinely, like, wanted to be in movies and wanted to make movies, because she's, like, expressed that, even, like, in her, like, earlier interviews about how she, like, she said, like, maybe I'll go on and make a movie. Like, she's expressed interest in wanting to go into movies. And I think, like, she did care about those movies to a certain extent. Like, you know, there are very specific there's very specific things about each of those movies that would make Whitney gravitate towards it. But was it smart for Whitney to do movies during that period in her life when things were, like, getting out of control? No, I don't. So maybe that's kind of what caused her to sound a bit disinterested when, or maybe look disinterested when she was doing those movies. I really don't know. Dairy, because everyone kept wanting her to keep the money rolling out. Yeah, well, that's true. That's why a lot of people, she didn't stop when she should have. Sheer fangirl, let's not exploit BK. I agree. Sheer fangirl, she is in year 35 of her 100-year legacy program. She will be eclipsed. Be patient. Wait, who is this? Who are you talking about? Skastagnolly 1. Okay, you love I'm Your Baby Tonight. I know the lyrics are sugary sweet, but the vocals on After We Make Love are so beautiful. Ooh, Skastagnolly 1. I do not like that. If there's one song I don't like on I'm Your Baby Tonight, it's After We Make Love. And, you know, the thing is, I don't even know if it's necessarily, like, I truly, like, especially, like, in Whitney's early careers, I don't attribute to me not liking certain songs because of her voice. It's more because of, like, the song. Like, I just think After We Make Love is such, like, I don't like the lyrics of that song. Like, when she says, we'll be caught in the afterglow after we make love. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't like it. Let me look at the track listing of I'm Your Baby Tonight. I think after, like, I mean, Bodyguard, like, forever, but, I think I'm Your Baby Tonight might be my favorite Whitney album. Okay. Yeah, honestly, like, I love all of the songs off of I'm Your Baby Tonight, but the one that I consistently skip is After We Make Love. And honestly, like, I'm Knocking, like, low-key kind of annoys me, and I kind of feel bad. I kind of feel bad saying that, because I think that was one of the few songs that Whitney actually produced. But it's like, whenever I'm about to listen to I'm Knocking, it's like, I have, like, my shield up, and I'm like, no, 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 I don't like the song, I don't like the song. But then, like, when I listen to it, I'm like, oh, the song's not that bad. I think part of the reason why I get, like, I'm Knocking kind of, like, I kind of just, like, don't want to listen to it is because it kind of sounds like, it sounds like Michael Jackson's Another Part of Me in a weird way. I don't know why, but it just kind of does. Sheer fangirl. Preacher's Wife was local shoot, and her life story. Waiting to Exhale was iconic book, first of its kind for women of color. She wanted cultural impact. Yeah. See, I agree with that. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, each of those movies, like Waiting to Exhale and Preacher's Wife, she had some sort of, like, stake in it. Like, Waiting to Exhale, again, like, I think Whitney was fully aware of, like, the importance of black women starring in movies, which is interesting because it's like, you know, we're living in this era now when it comes to, like, the conversation of, like, representation in media, where it's like, no, like, more people of color need to be, like, on screen and behind the camera. And then, like, in this movie, in the documentary, they, like, show Whitney Houston in the 90s saying, I think a black woman being the lead is, like, amazing. So I definitely think, like, she was making conscious choices in terms of, like, what role she was saying yes to and no to. So, like, Waiting to Exhale, she was like, yes, I'm gonna do it. More so Preacher's Wife, like, yeah, again, being the black, like, being a lead, being a black woman in a lead, like, was important. But I think, like, Preacher's Wife is more of, like, a passion project because she loves, like, gospel in the church. Rose Kid, why do you think the family had such bad things to say about Robin? It seems like Robin genuinely cared for Whitney despite the fame. Because the family is, like, homophobic as you know what. That's why. She's homophobic. They're homophobic. Even still to this day, they are homophobic. Like, that is just a fact. Sheer fangirl, Whitney will not be eclipsed. Oh, Whitney will not be eclipsed. She wanted a legacy the last 100 years. See Vanity Fair article 2012. Okay, I will definitely check that out. Q&A. Christina Romano. Did Angela Bassett know that Whitney was doing drugs back then during the filming of Waiting to Exhale? I think everyone around Whitney knew that she was doing drugs. Like, okay, in the Can I Be Me documentary, don't they say that Whitney, like, overdosed during the filming of Waiting to Exhale? Deary, yeah, I feel like she cared about her movies, but I think there was pressure to do them. I'm sure she probably wouldn't have wanted to enjoy Bobbi Kristina at that time, 95, 96, and would have done movies at a later time, like Sparkle. That's true, that's true. I mean, I don't know. But I agree with you, Deary. Like, I feel like throughout her career, there was just pressure on Whitney to just constantly be doing something because, again, people were financially relying on her. Royal Clark, where do you want me to send this video to? Okay, I will send you, I mean, my email is out in the open, but I'll just send it I'll comment my email right now. You can send it there. Oh, wait, no, that's not the email. Wait, That's not the email. Wait a second. What is my email? Blah, blah. Wait. Okay. This is my email, Royal Clark. It's contact.imho@gmail.com. There we go. Okay. Mikey Jay Maher, Whitney was the queen of film soundtracks. Agreed. I don't think a lot of people realize that, but she really was. The Bodyguard sold 45 million worldwide. Waiting to Exhale sold 10 million worldwide, and The Preacher's Wife sold 6 million worldwide. Yeah, like literally, and like I think people literally forget Waiting to Exhale, the soundtrack, was nominated for Best Album of the Year. A soundtrack that featured all black women was nominated for Album of the Year. People forget that that even happened. Okay, I need to text my cousin right now. We're at home. Okay. I'm doing a live stream on my phone, so just text me. Okay, Rose Kid. Have you heard the Feel So Good track from the I'm Your Baby Tonight era? I think it wasn't released in the US. It's really awesome. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. It's amazing. Sriracha Down. Another question. Does the media circus have the right to twist someone to the point of us not recognizing them, even when it's the truth they're talking about? Sriracha with the deep questions, man. Here's the thing. The thing that makes me feel about that question is your use of the word twist. I don't mind the media like seeking truth. I don't mind like journalists trying to get to the root and to the core and to the truth of their subject, no matter what that is. If that's a person, if it's an event, I don't mind it. However, if you're doing it in the nature of like it's clearly exploitative and you're doing it in a way that's like mocking the subject and you're just beating them down, I don't agree with that. You know what I mean? Like, it feels sick. It feels gross. If they would have like done a more like respectful article that, yeah, like it's gonna be hard to read, but it's like done it in a way that's not so trashy, that kind of like was talking about like, you know, Whitney's problems, like I would have not like really minded that, because that's important. However, like the whole like Inquirer approach is gross, so that's when I'm kind of like about it. Let's see here. Sheer Fangirl. Yes, Whitney appeared with soundtracks, and honestly, Streisand totally disappeared. Whitney, she happened. Dairy. I think Whitney really... Okay, Royal Clark, I got your email. Thank you. Dairy. I think Whitney really made soundtracks a trendy thing. Please don't come for me, Lance, but I feel like Mariah wanted Glitter to be her bodyguard, and I love Mariah. Yeah, I don't know like much about Mariah. Like I have a very like surface level knowledge of Mariah, but there's two YouTubers who I absolutely love and adore on YouTube. They're called Two Gay Matts, and Matt Palmer, he's a huge Whitney, he's a huge Mariah stan, and he has even said it himself that like Mariah really wanted like Glitter to be her bodyguard. And like frankly, I still feel like to this day, anytime I see like insert like famous pop singer, pop star that tries to do a movie and they're trying to do an original soundtrack with the movie, like for me, I always think in the back of my head, oh, they're trying to do a bodyguard moment, like Mariah with Glitter, Christina with Burlesque. Like there's always like any person who any like female pop star that tries to segue into movies and then also have an accompanying soundtrack. Like the standard for that, someone doing that successfully, for me will always be Whitney Houston and the Bodyguard. Like that's just facts. Sheer Fangirl, smart twist, coded language. Christina Romano, did Whitney really want to participate in the Bobby Brown reality TV show back in the 2000s when she was obviously at her worst and high on camera? Okay, so according to Whitney herself, in the Oprah interview, she says that the reason why she, like, did that was to just, like, be supportive of Bobby, because she was trying to play the role of, like, the perfect wife, and she's just trying to be supportive of him, and, like, as Oprah points out, in doing so, like, clearly, and they point this out in the documentary, it's like she was trying to dim her own light in order for him to, like, feel good about himself. So I think that was really, like, why Whitney just said yes, because she was just trying to be as supportive as she could be to Bobby. Sheer fangirl. So much of Whitney becomes understandable. She lived her life doing acts of philanthropy for children. They were her priority at young, some age. We owe her truth. Yeah, I agree. And, like, they even, like, again, in the documentary, they revealed that excerpt from an interview of Whitney, like, saying she's very adamant about that. And, like, the interviewer in that interview excerpt even says, like, oh, that's so strange. Like, why would you care so deeply about it? And it's like, it kind of makes sense then. Like, why you care about kids so much if that happened to you as a child. Katie, I think she did, at Christina, I think she did it to appease Bobby. Yeah, like I was saying, I agree with Katie. That's pretty much the reason why she did a lot of things during that time she was with Bobby Brown, was to, you know, act the role of being a good wife. Yeah. Okay, Mikey Jay Maher. Have you ever heard Whitney's version of Higher Love? It was a hit for Steve Winwood. Check it out. Got it from a Japanese import of I'm Your Baby Tonight, also featuring another track, Taking a Chance. Okay, I know I've heard Taking a Chance. I'm taking a chance. That one, I've heard that. I think I might have heard Higher Love in passing. I don't know. At first, I know, I recognize that title, though. I recognize that title. Okay, I think this is going to be really fun. Let's go around and say what our favorite song from each album is. Okay, so for me, my favorite song from Whitney's first album is You Give Good Love. I think is my favorite song from that first album. I think and say your favorite song and then say underrated song on the album. So for me, favorite song off of the first album is You Give Good Love. Underrated jam off of the first album is Someone for Me. Second album, which is called Whitney, I believe. I'm sorry, the names of her albums, like, are always, like, so freaking confusing, because it's like there's Whitney Houston, there's Whitney, and then there's just Whitney. Okay, so sophomore album, Whitney. Oh, this is hard. You know, I'm gonna go predictable and say, like, my favorite song off of that second album is I Wanna Dance with Somebody, but underrated jams off of that song are Where You Are and her cover of For the Love of You. Her cover of For the Love of You off of that sophomore album is, like, literal perfection. I believe when I watched that Narada Michael Walden interview he has on YouTube, he says that For the Love of You, I think, was the first song they did for that album. For the third album, my favorite song is All the Man That I Need. Oh god, this is so hard because I love this album. I think I would say I Belong to You is my favorite underrated jam of I'm Your Baby Tonight. Bodyguard, I Have Nothing is my favorite. I don't think there's an underrated jam because I'm pretty sure they're all, like, notable. Like, all of these songs are known. So, yeah. Let's see. Preacher's Wife, I Believe in You and Me, the film version, is my favorite. And then underrated jam is My Heart Is Calling. My Love Is Your Love. I mean, I love My Love Is Your Love. But I've also lately been in this, like, When You Believe state. Like, I love When You Believe as well. Underrated jam from this album is Until You Come Back. For me, when Whitney sings Until You Come Back, it feels very like a return to roots for her. with Until You Come Back. Like, it kind of, like, I feel like she would be singing this in, like, a, like, jazz club. Just Whitney, One of Those Days is probably my favorite. Like, this is, like, my least favorite Whitney album, but One of Those Days is my favorite song off of this album, and I think Underrated Jam is, God, where is it? Oh no, what the heck? Love That Man. Love That Man is the Underrated Jam from Just Whitney. I'm skipping the holiday album. And then from I Look to You is my favorite song from I Look to You. For the Lovers isn't a bad song either. That would be like the Underrated Jam. Let's see. Christina Romano, oh, haha, You Give Good Love was always my favorite too. There you go. Christina Romano, I Get So Emotional was my favorite from the second album. Oh, so emotional, so good. Later on Underwood, I'm at a pool right now. P.S. Hey, Christina Romano, I love All the Man That I Need. My favorite too from I'm Your Baby Tonight. Sheer Fangirl, Song for You. I hope you're talking about like her, when she did it during her I'm Your Baby Tonight era. For me, her version of A Song for You off of the I Look to You album is like soul crushing. Like, it makes me sad that that's the route she had to go in order to do that route. That's the route that she had to go to in order to do that song in her last album. Like, it's sad. Sheer Fangirl, Acting, Live, All the Man also. Yes, All the Man I Need. Mikey Jay Maher, All at Once from the first album. Whitney, I Know Him So Well, Underrated, I'm Your Baby Tonight, Miracle, Bodyguard, Run to You. Oh, okay, so you love that. You love the ballads. Preacher's Wife, I Love the Lord, My Love Is Your Love, I Bow Out, Just Whitney, Unashamed, and then I Look to You, from I Look to You. Lungani X, From I Look to You, I Didn't Know My Own Strength is that song. Rose Kid, first album, The Greatest Love of All, and Thinking About You. Oh, I love Thinking About You. Did Jermaine Jackson produce that song? Or is he like in the background vocals? I don't know. Deary, I Know, Didn't We Almost Have It All was a #1, but it seems to be overlooked sometimes in America. Here in the UK, from what I've experienced, everyone always goes to Didn't We Almost Have It All as Whitney's song. You know, that's so interesting. I think in the Philippines, Didn't We Almost Have It All is like that song is that Whitney's song. Rose Kid, and it wasn't Didn't We Almost Have It All, like that was the 7th single that made it like the record breaking like 7 consecutive #1 singles. Rose Kid, second album, Didn't We Almost Have It All, and Just the Lonely Talking Again is so underrated. Yes, Just the Lonely Talking is severely underrated. Sheer Fangirl, Beth Sussman said Song for You was the greatest version ever done. Like 90s era Whitney doing Song for You was, I 1000% agree. Now, Whitney doing A Song for You during her I Look to You era, no. Lungani X, Lover for Life. Yes, Lover for Life is such a jam. Let's see. Okay, let's go around and say, what's your favorite Whitney album? Like, I mean, I'm gonna, like, you know, Bodyguard aside, I'm Your Baby Tonight is my favorite Whitney album, so I'd be interested to hear from you guys, like, what's your favorite Whitney album? Rose Kid, I'm Your Baby Tonight album, I Belong to You is underrated, and I love Anymore. Yes, Anymore is so good. I love when in Anymore, when Whitney says, tells Babyface to sing, she's like, sing a face. I love that part. Bodyguard, I love Run to You and Clean the Night, the radio version. Sheer Fangirl, 90s Song for You, agreed. Lungani X, the cover of Just Lonely Talking Again, yes. Okay, so Sheer Fangirl's favorite Whitney album is I'm Your Baby Tonight. What about the rest of you? What's your favorite Whitney album? Mikey Jay Maher, what about the greatest hits song? Mine is Fine. Could I Have This Kiss Forever? Same script, different cast. Ooh, Fine is good. I personally don't like Could I Have This Kiss Forever. I'm just like, okay. I love Same Script, Different Cast. Same Script, Different Cast is like, I feel like I'm watching a play. Like, it literally feels like that could have been off of, like, the Hamilton soundtrack. Like, that's literally, it's like theater at its best. YB Dak Kid _ I'm Your Baby Tonight. Rose Kid, I'm Your Baby Tonight album is the best album for me also. This is so funny. I know Genevieve's favorite album, like era and album, is "I'm Your Baby Tonight." This is so funny. Derry, "I'm Your Baby Tonight" for the quality of the songs, but the Whitney album because of the immense vocals. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I get what your point. I get your point. For me, it's hard because, like, I think, like, live vocals, I will say, like, live vocal era Whitney, I will say, like, I always flip-flop between, like, again, late 80s, which is the Whitney era, and then, like, early 90s, "I'm Your Baby Tonight" era Whitney, kind of going into Bodyguard. But, like, in terms of, like, the album, like, as a whole, like, "I'm Your Baby Tonight" is, like, my album for me. Christina Romano, "Song for You." Oh, Steffi, ask your Panay mom about the Karen Carpenter version. Listen to it. It's like velvet. Okay, I will. Lungani X, "My Love Is Your Love" is my fave album. Yeah, I like My Love Is Your Love too. Like, again, like, I don't think there's like a Whitney album that I'm like, well, I think I generally like all of Whitney's albums. It's just the one that's so off-putting to me is Just Whitney. Like, that kind of crushes my soul. Mikey Jay Maher, fave Whitney album, "My Love Is Your Love." Yeah, it's definitely very, like, 90s. It's kind of like the 90s moment that we're, like, re-experiencing right now. YB Docket, "Heartbreak Hotel." Oh, "Heartbreak Hotel." This is the Heartbreak Hotel. Oh, so good. KD, "Whitney," my absolute fave. Christina Romano, "Song for You." I meant. Rose Kid, can we also talk about the dancing moves Whitney had during her "I'm Your Baby Tonight" era? She sounded great singing live while also keeping up with the male dancers. Okay, I don't know if any of you guys are Scandal fans, but the actress who plays Olivia Pope's mom on Scandal, Candy Alexander, she's actually the she was the choreographer for Whitney during her "I'm Your Baby Tonight" era, which is, like, mind-blowing, and she's actually in the documentary as well. Like, they show her kind of, like, leading Whitney through the moves. So Lungani X, what's your fave? But yeah, agree, Rose Kid, like, her dancing, I've always, like, thought, like, Whitney was definitely, like, no Michael or no Janet, or, you know, when it came to dancing, but, like, the moves that she did have were, like, very, like, endearing. It's, like, cute, you know, you're like, oh, Whitney, look at you. Lungani X, what's your fave look era? "I'm Your Baby Tonight." I just think, like, Whitney during her "I'm Your Baby Tonight" era, like, truly had it all. Like, she, like, I think her personality shined through more, like, when she was doing her interviews during that time. Like, look-wise, it was very, like, she was more grown, but she had, like, this swag about her. Like, her vocals were just on point. Like, I just love the "I'm Your Baby Tonight" era Whitney. Oh, amazing. But yeah, I would say, like, look would be "I'm Your Baby Tonight" era. My least, well, no, I don't know. I mean, like, for me, I just personally didn't like the hair she had during her, like, I did not like the hair she had during her "My Love Is Your Love." Like, the one that's, like, severely cut like this, like, it only reaches halfway. I hate that hair. I hate it. And, like, I also don't like some of the look she was wearing during her "My Love Is Your Love." Like, when they show her on tour during the Can I Be Me documentary, and she's wearing, like, that suit with, like, the white, like, oh god, why? I don't like that. Sheer fangirl, yes, Candy, actually saw her at Beverly Hills Hilton. Woo, the circle. Oh, that's so cool. You saw Candy Alexander? Damn. Tell her thank you for the "I'm Your Baby Tonight" choreography. YB Dakid, "If I Told You That" is my jam. Yeah, "If I Told You That's" pretty good. Christina Romano, "It's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it anyway." The lyrics of that song are so good. Like, the line of if only two of you had if 6 of y'all went out, then 4 of you are really cheap, because only 2 of you had dinner, and I found your credit card receipt. Oh my god, that lyric. My god, so good. Luganis X, I think if she wanted to do intense dance routines, she would have killed them. Like, how are we defining intense? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Whitney would say this herself. There's no way in hell Whitney was ever gonna do, like, a Janet level choreo. But, like, she could do, like, a little, like, 2-step, and she could, like, move her shoulders a bit. But, you know, at the same token, I feel like, first and foremost, Whitney would never sacrifice her vocal performance just to, you know, do choreography. So, Mikey Jay Maher, why don't you like Just Whitney? Some great songs in there. Tried on My Own, Unashamed, You Light Up My Life, Love That Man, One of Those Days. I just feel like, for me, you know, that's when things just started getting really bad in her personal life, and I think that was really reflective in her songs. I mean, Unashamed is fine, but I just feel like, given what she was going through in her life during that time, I just feel like putting that song on the album was like, it was trying to be a statement when you really shouldn't be making a statement about that. Like, you girl, you have a song called Unashamed during that era in your life. No shade, Whitney, you know I love her, but, and then you mentioned here, Tried on My Own. I think that's her worst music video. I don't know what the fuck she was thinking when, like, who came up with that idea? Watch the music video for Tried on My Own. It's doesn't make any sense. It's like, Whitney literally is like in a suit. Once again, do not like it when she's wearing a suit. She's like in a suit and she like has like a little top hat and she like appears out of nowhere and she's like auditioning to be in like a play or something, and then at one point she like rips the papers and she like gets handed a rose. It's so weird. I hate that music video. I hate it. I hate it. It's like she looks like, I don't even know, like Carmen Sandiego, but like not in a good way. I hate it. And then, like, you know, just the song alone, Tried on My Own, and You Light Up My Life. I just feel like I don't like those songs. Like, I feel like she was trying to do, like, you know, the typical Whitney, I'm gonna try and do, like, do my own take on, like, an iconic song, but it just feels like she's, like, phoning it in. Like, when she specifically sings You Light Up My Life, it truly feels like, I'm Whitney Houston, I am covering this song. Not like, I am Whitney Houston and I'm going to make this song my own. Like, not in the way that she did, like, Greatest Love of All, or I Will Always Love You. Like, when she did, like, You Light Up My Life, it truly sounds like she's phoning it in. And it's coming from a place of love. I'm saying that with all the utmost respect, but I'm a fan. I'm being critical. So, Christina Romano, Page Boy haircut. I think you're talking about My Love Is Your Love, but yeah. YB Dackett, that Dora the Explorer cut. LOL. Yes! It literally looks like Dora the Explorer. Derry, I'm sorry, but can we just take a moment to appreciate the vocals for You're Still My Man? That Without There'd Be No Love at All line blows me away every time. See, that's the thing. It's like, I think You're Still My Man, I don't really like necessarily, the song is but Whitney makes that song like decent, you know? Rose Kid, I don't like the hair either. It reminds me of Willy Wonka. Yeah, and like how it like perfectly like rounds at the bottom. Oh god, I hate it. 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 Lungani X. Have you seen how beautiful she looks on the Waiting to Exhale movie? Yes! Okay, the looks... Okay, that's how Whitney Houston should have looked in, like, late 90s, you know? Like, because early 90s Whitney, she had that, like, short haircut, but, like, it still looked really, really, like, cool and good. She should have, like, done that with her hair. Like, kept that wig or weave or whatever the hell that was, or if that was her natural hair. Should have kept that look. Her look, like, the looks that are served throughout Waiting to Exhale are so iconic, but I agree, she looks really, really good in Waiting to Exhale. Mikey Jay Maher, she looked gorgeous in Tried on My Own. She looked okay. I mean, like, okay, I'm sounding mean here. She did great, she looked good, but I just think the concept of that video is horrendous. I don't like it. It's so cheesy. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't like it. I'm a huge music video fan, and I just think that's literally her worst video of all freaking time. Ooh. It just, I don't know. Sheer fangirl. Kind of a revenge album. She was too big for that. If someone loved her, they would have stopped that. Yeah, I agree. I kind of get that sense when she did, like again, like a song like Unashamed. It felt like a song where she was, like, trying to prove something when really someone should have, like, stepped her aside and been like, honey, no. Derry, that Just Whitney album feels lazy in my opinion. Yeah, agreed. That's why I say, like, it feels like she's, like, phoning it in. Patricia Day also, hello. Derry, I hope the wig from Brunei was burned. I hope that stylist got fired. Girl, that wig did not stand a chance in the humidity of Brunei. Mikey Jay Maher, tried on my own video was her taking the pee at her singing the wrong words for the Oscar she was supposed to perform at, but got fired. Oh. Okay, well, I mean, it's nice to know that context, but I still freaking hate that video. I don't like it. Let's talk about something more positive. What's your favorite Whitney video? Favorite Whitney music video? For me, this is gonna sound really cheesy, but I love the Greatest Love of All video. There's just something so endearing about, like, first of all, I like that outfit. Granted, like, I don't really like the black leather skirt. I wish they would have gone with, like, black leather pants, but I think she looks great in that video. I like the looks for the most part that she's serving in the video, but overall, I just feel like she looks so young and happy and healthy and exuberant, and she looks like she just has so much ahead that she's not even aware of in that time. So much good things ahead of her, and also bad things, but like she just looked so optimistic and young, and it's so endearing to watch her in that Greatest Love of All video. And that moment in the video when she's like walking up the stairs and she kind of like twists up, it's like so triumphant, and she like has her hands out open like this, and she's like walking, you know that part I'm talking about, but she's like walking and she like opens her hands out. I'm just like, oh yes, I love that video. Another video surprisingly that I really like is Where Do Broken Hearts Go, because first of all, she looks really good in that video, and like the looks she serves throughout that entire video. Honey, she has multiple costume changes in that video. Different locations. So good. That video is like low-key really underrated. And then, like, you know, I love the I'm Your Baby Tonight video. Let's see what some of you are saying. Lungani X, I hate how she rarely showed her beautiful forehead with her hairstyles. My fave hairstyle from her was in 1988, the Nelson Mandela concert in Wembley. Oh yeah, when she had like, it was like down and she had like the little like top here. Yeah, it was cute. Very 80s. Patricia Day Oza, I'm Your Baby Tonight, I Will Always Love You. Oh, what's GLOA? I feel bad that I don't know what that, oh, Greatest Love of All. I Want to Dance with Somebody. Sheer Fangirl, the bob was tied with Dolce & Gabbana lace and leather wardrobe. Still don't like it. Rose Kid, the I Belong to You video where everyone is having fun in her house on the roof. Oh yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, serves looks there too. Lugani X, I love the cheesiness of I'm Your Baby Tonight video. I know, when she's like singing to that person dancing in the little glass of water. YB Docket, Dance with Somebody. Yeah, Dance with Somebody is like iconic. I know like Whitney has said she doesn't like the video for How Will I Know and I Want to Dance with Somebody, but I just think those two videos are so endearing, and they just like aesthetic wise they capture like the 80s so perfectly. So I always have a special place in my heart for those videos as well. KD, I Will Always Love You, that red lip, ugh, yes, just her like sitting effortlessly on the chair, not making much eye contact is just iconic. Dairy, I Want to Dance with Somebody video is my favorite. So cheesy but brilliant at the same time. It just makes you smile. The video is basically the 80s in 4 minutes. Yeah, exactly. I love it. I love it. So endearing. YB Docket, I Have Nothing To. Yes, even though it's like literally just clips from the Bodyguard, I agree. However, I will say I don't think she does a really great job of like convincingly lip syncing in that song, in that video. You know how like there's moments where she's like lip syncing, and like they're like the moment that kind of makes me be like, ugh, is that moment where it's like, like it sounds like she's so emotional, but when she's lip syncing in the video, she's just like this. I'm like, Whitney, come on, girl. I know you sweat. Like, I know you were like muscling your way through it, and you were like, you know, moving your body like that. Like, I want to see that in the video. Let's see. Mikey Jay Maher, I Want to Dance with Somebody video, such a fun video. Run to You, I'm Every Woman video. Oh yeah, I'm Every Woman's sweet. It's like her with all the other women. I think she said in her interview with MTV, like when it was like Whitney TV, she said that I'm Every Woman was her favorite video at the time. Sheer Fangirl, filmed at the Apollo, the only vid she made there. I love The Greatest Love. Yeah, Greatest Love of All. Lungani X, saving all my love video was nice with her cute little acting. I know, like, Whitney playing the mistress. I like how she, like, had, like, a headband moment in that video, too. Sheer Fangirl also filmed her trench coat video at the historic Black Theater Lyric in Miami. Very political in her choices. Christina Romano, favorite video for me? So many. Great wigs. I can't decide. Love the outrageous eye makeup and How Do I Know? Any the tacky neon 80s look. That was the shit. That was your shit when it came out. Yeah. Again, like, I love those videos as well because they just, like, encapsulate the time so perfectly. Patricia De Aza, on the article from People, Brad Johnson said Whitney can humming to birds flocking. Lungani X, I Run to You video is special. Scat Stag Nolly 1. Yes, Patricia, that was a great story. I need to get that People magazine. Dairy, and also Step by Step is such a fun video. She looks stunning even though she's in an unflattering coat. You know, she's like, when she's like on the platform, she's like, step by step. She just looks like she's having a great time. Yeah, she does. Whitney always looked like she was having a great time. That you can say. Okay, what else can we talk about when it comes to Whitney? Okay, favorite Whitney interview. I mean, the Wendy Williams interview is truly iconic. There are so many iconic lines. I also like that interview she did when she was sitting on the couch and she's wearing white. And the interviewer is like, all the time, like, I forget, like, they're talking about how, like, Whitney has to be hard on her employees, like, and that includes family members. And then the interviewer's like, all the time. And then Whitney was like, no, just sometimes. No, I forget what she says. No, yeah, I think Whitney says sometimes. And then the interviewer's like, all the time? And then Whitney's like, no, sometimes. That means sometimes. Like, I think that part is so funny. Oh, God. Katie, yes, Whitney Williams, LOL, LOL, LOL. Oh, God, there's so, like, that, she has so many funny lines in the Wendy Williams interview. Like, when Wendy Williams is like, because I know you and Robin used to be girlfriends back in the day. And then Whitney's like, well, we still are friends, girl. And then another one is when Wendy's like, geez, Whitney, you're a trip. And then Whitney's like, I've been around the world. She says it like so fast too. Oh my God, it's so funny. YB Docket _ I'm watching Where Do Broken Hearts Go video now, and if they could capture Whitney's life for the big screen like this, yeah, it's like that video for Where Do Broken Hearts Go is like, I feel like it's like that they're them trying to capture like old school Hollywood glamour. Christina Romano, Diane Sawyer, ABC 2020 interview, Crack is Whack interview. See, like, for me, watching, like, that, it's, like, the funny part in the Diane Sawyer interview for me is when Diane has that picture of Whitney in the Michael Jackson 30th anniversary special, and she's like, Whitney, this is, like, scary thin. And Whitney's like, well, I'm a skinny girl, you know, I'm 5 whatever, and I'm pretty skinny. And then Diane's like, no, but this is scary. It's, like, bones. And then Whitney's like, well, do you know, Diane? Do you really know? I think that part of the interview is so funny. Derry says, favorite interview, Arsenio Hall in the white shirt when he talks about her singing white, and then she starts singing How Well I Know in a really stereotypical white accent. Yeah. I think all of Whitney's interviews with Arsenio were really, really good. Sheer Fangirl, she said she wanted to be remembered as being righteous to people. She really, really was to her employees. Patricia De Aza, Oprah 2009 interview, Oprah 99 interview, and Oprah 98 interview. Yeah, her interviews with Oprah were always pretty good. Christina Romano, at times it has been, oh God, that's like always, every time I watch that part, it's like, what? Derek, oh, also when she's on Keenan Ivory, Wayne's in 97, and she's herself singing when she's like, and she sees herself singing when she's like 12. Ooh, I need to go back and watch that. I think I know what you're talking about. It's been a while. Lungana X, what do you think of Mariah? What do I think of her? I don't think of her. Sheer fangirl. Everything after that comment was quite touching. Her piano playing, her ATL home, her daughter. Oh, I need to... Okay, let me try and look up that interview. What is it? Can you link me that interview, Sheer fangirl, that you're talking about? All it takes, just here for your face. Well, here I am. Thanks. Rose Kid, beside the Wendy Williams interview, I love the MTV interview with the young lady asking her questions. Oh, yes, with Quincy. And she tells the story of Bobbi Kristina saying the boy in her class is a player. Yeah, I love that interview. I love watching Whitney interact with the fans, which I feel like we didn't really get a lot of, but I love that interview she did with Quincy. And then, like, talking about her love of vacuuming. Can you imagine if that made it in the documentary? Like, they spent, like, a good minute and a half on, like, Whitney's love of vacuuming. I would have been like, what is happening? But, yeah, I love that. And I love in that interview, too, when Quincy is, like, telling Whitney all the amazing things she's done. Because I feel like Whitney, like, herself never really took the time to take inventory of all the amazing things she's been able to accomplish, you know? I just feel like, in general, I don't think Whitney realized, like, what a special person she was, and it kind of makes me sad. Sheer fangirl, Diane Sawyer interview. She had, sheer fangirl, she had major carpet in a 15,000 square home. Indeed, she had to vacuum. Oh, I'm sure of it. I'm sure she would have just vacuumed all from one end of the house to the other. Let's see. I don't know. Do you guys have any other Whitney-related questions you want to talk about? Other Whitney things? Okay, well, going back to the documentary, though. That part in the documentary when they were talking about Robin, and they showed how, I mentioned this in my review too, but they showed that poster of, like, Whitney. It's like, I don't know, it was some poster plastered in a city, and they showed Whitney's face, and underneath the caption of it was absolutely queer. I, like, freaking died. Like, I literally audibly gasped. And then, you know, I said this in the review too, but, like, her, what's it called? That article it was an article in the magazine, and it was like John Huston supposedly paid someone like $6,000 to break Robin Crawford's legs, like, scared me. And then also, oh my god, that article of, in the documentary that they showed, of Michael Jackson would literally, like, I think, no, it was Deborah Martin Chase who said this, like, Michael Jackson would literally call up Whitney Houston randomly and, like, invite her to hang out with him in, like, his hotel room, and they would just, like, sit there in silence. Like, the image of Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson at that point in their lives, just sitting in silence in a random hotel room, just, like, boggles my mind. Lungani X. I love the interview for the Waiting to Exhale movie where she's wearing the red two-piece and she tells the story of how the soundtrack came about. Oh, yes. Yeah, that's fun. Rose Kid, can we talk about our favorite rare concerts on YouTube? The Argentina concert is amazing. Yes, it is. I think, this one, it's not like a visual, but I love the audio from when she performed in California. I believe it was like 1987. There's a point in the concert when she performs For the Love of You, and it's like a moment. Like, you can literally hear the crowd go, whoa! It's crazy. I love that. Mikey Jay Maher, do you think there are unreleased songs in the vault? God, I hope so. If anything, if there aren't any unreleased songs, I wish they would, like, release different vocal takes of, like, iconic songs. You know what I mean? Like, different renditions of songs that we've known. I'd love that. Mikey J. Maher, do you think there are... Oh, wait, I already read that. Sheer Fangirl, yes, thank you. NYC Village active people knew her and are from the bars, threatens to out her. That's just so sad that people were, like, threatening to out, like, people in general, but it's just sad that they were threatening to out her in the name of, like, you know, progress. It's just like, come on, that's not nice. That's not right. Rose Kid, also the San Jose concert from '86. Yes, that one is so good. Is amazing. The Sapporo concert from 1990 live was also amazing. Ooh, I need to look that up. Sheer Fangirl. Fortunately, gay activists must have how much bigotry she was subjected to in her community, they laid off. Well, I mean, it's sad that they even did that in the first place. KD, agreed, so glad you brought that up. Whitney and MJ in a room is just a vision. Can you imagine seeing that? Yeah, God, it's crazy. It's so interesting, like, in this documentary, they had, like, they put Michael in it, like, whether it was just in pictures or, like, in, like, little video clips, like, they had him throughout, and I think it's kind of interesting how, like, their careers, like, they kind of, like, I mean, granted, like, Michael Jackson, like, he had, like, a much earlier advantage to Whitney because he started off so young, but like they were at their height together, and then like in the 2000s when they both kind of like their careers and like their personal life just became a lot, like they both were in like dark places at the same time. I just think it's so interesting. And then they kind of died like within the same like years as one another. Like Michael died in 2009, and then 3 years later we lost Whitney. So I think it's interesting, like, the parallels between the two of them. And then the fact that they were just so close on top of that, too, is so crazy. Because you know how it's, like, celebrities are like, oh, yeah, we're close, but, like, it's really, they're not that close. Like, I get that Whitney and Michael really had this special bond because of, like, how much they've both gone through in life. Let's see here. Lungani X, my favorite Whitney Houston concert vocally is the one in 91 in Japan, but overall concert has to be the one in 94 in South Africa. Her spirit there is on another level. Yeah, that's the perfect way of describing it. Like, yes, vocally she was there, but also just like the way she held herself. Like, you could just genuinely tell she just loved to be there, and she was so genuinely and sincerely grateful and happy to be performing there. And like, that's crazy. I didn't know that. Like, I wasn't like, I may have read it in passing, but it didn't like fully like digest in my mind how significant that must have been for her to be the first artist to ever perform in a newly like un-apartheid South Africa. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. That's such a special moment. Derry, I love Radio City Music Hall 93 concert. Her tone and vocals are amazing. Sheer fangirl. Men were dying everywhere. That was the issue. Community was looking for public faces to help. That was all. It is a historical thing. Cissy earned major bucks off gay men. That was how the paths crossed. Again, they called it off. Interesting. Okay, well, if you guys have, I don't know, are there any other things you guys want to talk about in regards to Whitney? I mean, not to say I'll never talk about her again on my channel. Like, that's, you know, she's always going to be a part of the channel in some way. But, you know, this is really like that Whitney live stream. Lungani X, I'm from South Africa, and I'm so hacked that I was born in 95. I missed out. Dang. I'm sorry you missed out, too. Derry, her family stance on LGBT confuses me on the official Instagram account story. They linked an article about Whitney's positive impact on the LGBT community, but then they say they are against it. Yeah, I'm wondering who runs that Whitney Instagram account, because I saw that article too, so I don't know. I don't know. Oh God, so hot here. I'm gonna need my little like Whitney towelette to wipe my sweat off my face. But yeah, I was thinking on my channel, I don't know when it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. My first video that I ever posted on my YouTube channel was an albums revisited. It was an albums review of Michael Jackson's Thriller, and I really want to bring that series back on my channel. And you know, with that being said, I'm most likely going to, at some point in the lifespan of this YouTube channel, I will review all of Whitney's albums. So Lungani X, I wish Whitney Houston wrote a book about her life. Me too. I would have loved to hear like her story in her words. Nolly1, doc related. I was so happy to read the way film critics praised her talent in the numerous reviews I read. She didn't always get the same respect from music critics throughout the years. Yeah. I also think too, it's like critics in general, they tend to be like white and they tend to be male. So maybe like, you know, not everything is for everyone. So maybe the music critics during that period just didn't get a Whitney Houston, but like to like people of color, to women, to like you know, the LGBTQ community, like Whitney Houston is everything. So I don't know. There needs to be more diverse representation when it comes to critics and people voicing their opinions on things, which is why I love this channel. Sheer fangirl. I believe the homophobia will seriously diminish, sadly, after Cissy. The single best performance in her entire career was Greatest Love for the 15th anniversary of Arista. Oh, this is, okay, David Bailey, welcome. Yeah, that was a really great performance. Lungani, which Whitney Houston do you connect with lyrically? Like Whitney Houston's song? Oh my god. God, I don't know. That's tough. I mean, I love the lyrics to, like, again, it's really cheesy, but I mean, the lyrics to Greatest Love of All, I think, are so, like, great. I love the lyrics to When You Believe from My Love Is Your Love is like, that's like a gospel verse. Like, that could be in the Bible. I feel like that's like it's like that. I love the lyrics in that. I love the lyrics in I Look to You. Especially, like, you know, especially thinking about the lyrics in the context of Whitney's life. The lyrics in I Look to You are just like, oh, so, like, profound. I love the lyrics in Exhale, Shoop Shoop, but from Babyface. I love the lyrics in that. I've turned to that song many, many times. And I also love the lyrics of I Have Nothing. You know, the opening lines of that song are, share my life, take me for what I am, because I'll never change, all my colors for you. I was listening to an interview with Kevin McDonald, it's the same interview I keep referencing, and he said that he specifically chose that song to play at the end of the movie because of the lyrics, because, you know, he feels like, in a way, like, even though Whitney didn't write the words to that song, like, those lyrics, especially after watching a documentary about her life, like, those lyrics, like, really resonate in a large way, because, you know, it's like, share my life, take me for what I am, you know, this is me, you know, I can't change the things that have happened to my life, but you either love me for, you love me for everything that's happened, you love me for all that I am. I love that. Sheer fangirl, both Gary and Mike Curry favor with Mom That Way. The last vestiges of Cissy and John bashing Robin needs to stop. I agree. Lungani X, you have to see her live performance of Hold Me with Teddy Pendergrass in a wheelchair. Oh, I didn't know he was... Oh, okay, I need to find that. Skastag Nolly 1, the Rolling Stones rankings are a disgrace. Well, you know, it's Rolling Stones, it's like white, straight men, so... Lungani X, You'll Never Stand Alone lyrics. Sheer fangirl, When You Believe It's Everything, inspirational for children too. See, I was 5 years old when that movie came out, so, like, that movie and that song was, like, my Frozen. Rose Kid, did you notice in the movie some things were in order? Yes, I did notice that. Which, as a Whitney fan, kind of, like, threw me off the first time I watched it, but, you know, I think they were more going for, like, theme. But yeah, I did notice that. Lungani X, do you think Whitney Houston was a better vocalist than Aretha? I don't want to shade Aretha. I'm just, I mean, Aretha's, like, you know, Queen of Soul. I think, I don't know. That's hard. I'm skipping that question. What do you guys think? Genevieve Brown, oh, OMG, you're still going. Yep, I'm still here. Lungani X. Count on Me has amazing lyrics, and she co-wrote that song with Face and her brother Michael. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah. Sheer fangirl, yes. Rose Kid chronologically was wrong. Editing didn't know the subject that well. See, I thought the editing was great in the movie. I think even though, yeah, there were definitely things that they didn't say in chronological order, I feel like the reason why things may have been edited out of order was just for, like, narrative sake, and they were kind of, like, you know, going from one theme to the next. So for me, from that perspective, I didn't mind that things were out of order. But overall, I personally thought that the editing of that film was just really, really well done. Rose Kid, like they mentioned, her having Bobbi Kristina and then mentioned her, yes, yeah, that's exactly what the part I was thinking about, and then mentioned her singing the national anthem. That was a little weird to me. I love the part in the movie where she's doing the quick change with BK. Oh my god, me too. I love that part. Like, that part, every time I've seen the movie, that part always, like, it, like, tugs at my soul, man. Like, because you could just tell how much she loves her daughter in that moment, and it's so endearing, and it's just, like, it's sad. Patricia DeAza, like the episodes of Gimme a Break starring Nell Carter, Whitney was on the episode titled Katie's College. She is Rita Bradley. She is Kara Michelson as Katie. Thanks for that fun fact. Mikey Jay Maher, Count on Me was stunning. Yes, it was. Dairy Exhale Shoop Shoop is like my stress release. Girl, or I don't know, or if you're a guy, same. There have been so, like, ever since I discovered that song, anytime, anytime, especially this past year when I discovered the song, I felt really, really down on myself, and I felt like I've given up a lot of hope. I have like, that song is like my therapy. I listen to that song and it's like, I feel like I'm sitting in a therapy session, and then I watch that movie and it's like cathartic for me. I love that song. I love that song. It's definitely like it's like the epitome of stress relief. Yeah, the lyrics are really beautiful and they're very straightforward. Have you guys seen Babyface? He was on the, when he was on the Oprah show, he performed that song, like, live on the piano. Like, he didn't, like, perform it. He was just kind of, like, you know, singing a couple lines here and there. But he sings that song on the piano, and it's just, like, his take on it is just, like, so heartbreaking. You're just like, meh. Lungani X. Which song do you think is her hardest to sing? Maybe top 3 hardest Whitney songs to sing? Oof, I don't know. That's hard. I mean, I'm not like a vocalist, so I don't even know if I can like say, oh yes, this is the song that's the hardest. Which Whitney movie is your fave? I don't know. I mean, Bodyguard. I mean, that's like the iconic Whitney movie, right? But then, like, I also love, like, Waiting to Exhale, more from the fact of, like, I love going to that movie, like, when I need comfort in my life. But then, like, I love her in The Preacher's Wife because I love watching her, like, be a mom. And I love that she gets to perform, like, I Believe in You and Me. So, yeah, I don't know, that's tough. Genevieve Brown, I think Whitney is better vocalist than Aretha, but hard to say at the same time because Aretha didn't venture out into the pop realm as big as Whitney did. Very true. Mikey Jay Maher, Why Does It Hurt So Bad really sung with such emotion. The live performance was amazing. When I think of Whitney and Aretha, I think of a gospel comparison and how they complement each other that way. That's true. And Whitney has said numerous times that Aretha's like a huge inspiration for her, so. Alright, so I'm gonna go for like 3 more minutes because I've genuinely been doing this for 2 hours and my throat is like getting really dry now. So if you guys have any last minute Whitney remarks, now's the time to leave them because, you know, gonna be ending pretty soon. Oh, and if you guys wouldn't mind liking this video, liking the live stream, that'd be really, really great. Sheer Fangirl, Cinderella was fun in a crazy way, seeing all the famous New York stage actors and the music. Lungani X, when Whitney performs A Quiet Place, that's good too. One of my favorite performances is when Whitney sang Didn't We Almost Have It All live in Saratoga Springs, New York, 1988, I believe. That is the definition of an emotional journey. And I also love when she performed This Day. When it's like, I think they show it when in her I'm Your Baby Tonight era during her This Is My Life TV special, and she's wearing green and she's sitting on a stool. Like, that's one of my favorite Whitney like live vocals. Derry, I'm Your Baby Tonight is so hard to sing. I swear I tried to sing that I sounded like a dying cat and nearly collapsed. It requires so much breath. Sheer Fangirl, yes, Saratoga Springs, wow. I honestly want the full concert from that night in Saratoga Springs. Like, I've also seen from that same concert, her performance of I Want to Dance with Somebody, and it's so good. So I just feel like during that particular night, she was so on. So I'd love to, like, literally get the full Saratoga Springs concert footage. Rose Kid, off topic, but I read the L.A. Reid book, and he mentioned Whitney in it. She was in Atlanta recording, and her hotel was broken into. Oh my god, I didn't know that. Oh, that makes me so sad. Mikey Jay Maher, thank you so much for doing this live stream. It was great. Love your appreciation for Queen Whitney. Well, thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Patricia Day Oza and BB Winans, the Whitney I knew. Whitney, Robin, BB, Cissy, Robert, Matt, Barb, Streisand, Prince of Tides. There's a woman. She was front of Whitney. The woman turned around 2 times. Wait, what? Rose Kid. So she decided to stay with L.A. Reid at his house. He was married to Pebbles at the time. Pebbles was on tour and unhappy about that. He basically said Whitney talked to her and put her in her place. LOL. Oh my god. That's so strange to hear that story, especially like after like one of my favorite Whitney things on YouTube is when her and Pebbles hosted Friday night videos. I think it's so funny. Ooh, sheer fangirl, ditto, thank you. Look up the 2012 Vanity Fair story of her life from the start. Okay. Vanity Fair 2012, Whitney Houston. Okay, I will look that up. And then there was another star. Oh, it was like CJ Whitney Houston Star Spangled Banner. I need to read that article as well. Yeah, from the New Yorker. Cinque Henderson. Okay, Cinque Henderson. Okay. Scastagnoli, one true story. I listened to The Greatest Love of All, London, Wembley, 1988, a few months ago, and the powerful ending cracked my Mac speakers. Damn, Lord, Whitney messing things up from beyond the grave. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Lugani X, when Whitney does the breathe again ad-lib on All the Man That I Need. Yes, yes, the breathe ad-lib is so good. Okay, well, I'm gonna end it there. You know, feel free, you guys, always to talk about Whitney with me in the comments section of any of my Whitney-related videos. I'm always down to talk Whitney. You can follow me on social media. It's at INN. I'll leave it here. At INN_MHO. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter there. You can also like email me, you know, if you want to talk about Whitney or send me links. But yeah, thank you so much for joining this stream. I really, really appreciated it. It went 2 hours long. I hope you guys enjoyed the documentary. Like, this truly concludes like the Whitney documentary journey that has been on my channel. So, you know, thanks for being a part of it. I hope you guys enjoyed the movie. I hope you guys liked this video. So I enjoyed talking to you guys about Whitney. I always think it's like nice for the fans to come together and talk about her. So yeah. All right. Well, I'm just gonna end it right there. Yeah. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for joining the Whitney stream. Bye.